Life on the road is not for everyone, and everyone lives it differently. This is Interviews with Touring Techs.
I'm Jim Martin. I am the laser tech for Brad Paisley. I've been working with Brad and Dean Spurlock for about 3 years now. This is, I guess, the fourth tour I've done for Brad. And I've been on and off working on music tours since 1983 when I did the Jacksons and ZZ Top, 38 Special, Loverboy, and then I started my company in 85 and have been doing mostly corporate work, corporate theater, outdoor shows, things like that, until I started working with Brad.
How'd you get into the music business, and what was your path to teching?
It was kind of roundabout. My first laser gig was at the World's Fair in Knoxville in 82, and I was in kind of slowly getting through graduate school. I was, I think I spent 3 years getting a third of the way through a one-year program in electrical engineering, and then after the World's Fair, I got a job with a company, Show Lasers in Dallas, that did mostly touring, and that's kind of how it happened. It wasn't really anything I chose, but it was, I guess at that time it was easier to do that kind of work than to try to get a real job. And I was tired of graduate school. I wasn't progressing very rapidly.
What kind of education, self or formal, have you sought out to use being a touring tech?
Well, that's kind of funny. I've got a degree in physics, but I don't use a lot of that. And most of the courses that I've taken, for my job, have been laser safety related courses too, because there's still a big web of requirements by the various states, and the feds also regulate us. So just mainly it's trying to appease some of the authorities.
What do you do with your downtime on days off on the road?
It depends on where we are. If it's Cleveland and it's the winter and it's cold, I sleep. If we were in San Diego 2 years ago, and I chartered a 36-foot sailboat and took as much of the crew that I could get on it out on the Pacific for an afternoon. Certain towns, like if you're in Vancouver or San Francisco, places like that, I'll spend a day walking around and just hanging out and find a pub, something like that.
Are you married? Do you have any kids?
Yeah, my wife is on the way to the show, and our 20-year-old daughter, they flew over this morning from Atlanta, and they're coming to the show tonight, which, by the way, we're in Dublin. With a daughter in college, it hasn't been that difficult with me being away, but then the big problem is getting a dog sitter. So,
what do you do with your downtime when you're at home?
I sail whenever I can. We've got a sailboat on Lake Lanier, and we'll even go up there some winter nights because it's got heat and we can sleep on it, and it's just a good way to get away, good place to get away, and it relaxes me.
How do you juggle having a happy home life and still enjoy being a touring tech?
My wife is a flight attendant for Delta, so it does make it a little difficult, when we can go. I think this time it's been about a week and a half since we've seen each other, but it actually works out pretty well because we get to travel together a lot, and it just seems to work with both of us having really odd schedules. I think if one of us had a 9-to-5 job, it wouldn't work.
How do you deal with owning your own business and still being a touring tech working for an artist?
I've got a network of people that also own laser companies, and when I have other shows come up, like we've got a show tonight out somewhere, I think in Boise, with Toby Mac. I've got a friend that's been helping get them going on that tour. So you don't make nearly as much on your other gigs because you've got to hire somebody and a lot of times have to rent equipment. But that's all right, we'll keep things going. And then when the tour is not out, I've still got that business that I can rely on.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into teching to do your job?
3 or 4 years ago, I would have said don't. But now with the new diode lasers that are a lot easier to use and a lot more reliable, I think lasers themselves are making a big resurgence in the business, and it's a lot more enjoyable since you don't have to roll out 500 or 1,000 feet of water hose and 3-phase power and all that. So my thoughts are start gigging, get on a lighting crew somewhere with a company or with a tour that may be using lasers and try to help out on that. And there are a lot of tours that could use a second person. So I guess to get on the International Laser Display Association email list and even to join that association so you can get your name out. And they offer individual memberships that are pretty reasonable. So that gets you connected with other laser company owners.
What do you love about being a touring tech?
It may sound silly, but I like the people around here on the tour. From the from Brad's crew to the opening acts, the band Perry's crew has been great. A couple of years ago, we toured with Darius Rucker. Got to be really good friends with his crew. I just like the camaraderie.